Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're looking at our canine companions through the lens of an animal behaviorist to uncover a reality that happens in our homes every single day. The literal second you walk out your front door, your dog's entire world changes. And what happens in the minutes and hours after that? It's not just random pacing or boredom. It is a precise, instinct-driven sequence of behaviors. We're going to explore the raw, biological reality of what happens the second we leave our dogs alone. So, I want you to think about your own routine for just a second. When you leave the house, does your dog shadow you right up to the door, or do they kind of just stay put in their bed? Hold on to that thought, because by the end of this explainer, we are going to decode exactly what this highly specific behavior reveals about your dog's emotional state and, honestly, your bond with them. Section 1. Decoding the departure. The science behind the moment you grab your keys. Let's look at the very first phase of leaving, because the truth is your dog is already reacting to your departure long before you even stand up to leave. Animal behaviorists call this pre-departure cue sensitivity. Dogs have these incredibly observant cognitive processes. They memorize the tiniest little signals that predict your exit, the specific sound your shoes make on the floor, the rustle of your jacket, the way you check your pockets for your keys. Because of this, by the time your hand even touches the doorknob, your dog's nervous system is already fully activated, their heart rate has spiked, and stress hormones are already beginning to circulate in their bloodstream. And this brings us to a huge misconception. A lot of us spend, 5 minutes crouched down, using the baby voice, giving our dogs this long emotional goodbye because we think it comforts them. But the data shows it actually does the exact opposite. A drawn-out emotional farewell dramatically increases a dog's stress. So the crucial point here is that a calm, neutral, matter-of-fact exit actually sets a biologically healthy tone. It tells the dog, hey, this is a normal event, absolutely nothing to worry about. Section 2. The acute distress window. The shock of the first 3 minutes alone. Let's look at what happens the exact second the door clicks shut. The window between 30 seconds and 3 minutes after you leave is the most intense period your dog experiences. They automatically generate a surge of separation distress. But how they process it, that's the key. And this brilliantly illustrates the two totally distinct paths dogs take. For a dog with secure attachment, they might protest briefly, but then they take a literal long exhale, settle down, and self-regulate. But for anxious behavior, these dogs just cannot settle. They pace continuously from room to room, their stress escalates into panic, and they often engage in destructive chewing. If your dog falls into that anxious category, tearing up pillows or chewing door frames, please remember this. This is not a training failure. It is not a personality flaw. It's a physiological state. They aren't acting out of spite or boredom. That destructive chewing stems from a literal, neurological need to self-soothe their escalating anxiety. Section 3. The biological power of scent. Where they go when you are gone. So let's move to the next phase and see how this builds into their coping mechanisms, specifically looking at where they choose to rest. Observational studies show that when dogs finally do settle, they rarely go to their own dog beds. Instead, they make a beeline straight for your spot, your side of the bed, the cushion on the sofa you always sit on. And the reason is entirely biological. Your scent is the most powerful calming signal they have. Studies show that having access to an unwashed item of the owner's clothing literally chemically reduces the dog's primary stress hormone, cortisol. This gives us a completely different perspective on why dogs steal our socks or drag our dirty shirts off a chair. As animal behaviorists beautifully put it, they are self-medicating with the only version of you they have left. It's not a behavioral issue of dependency. It is an expression of love and safety communicated entirely through their olfactory system. Section 4. The mystery of dog sleep, uncovering the hidden stress of the middle phase. Now, let's shift focus to the long middle stretch of the day, when it kind of looks like our dogs are just peacefully sleeping the hours away. Well, dogs don't sleep like we do. They experience polyphasic sleep, meaning they cycle repeatedly through light and deep sleep all day. But when a dog is left solitary in a house, their brain recognizes an evolutionary vulnerability. Because they're alone, they remain in this lightly alert state. So an 8 to 12-hour absence creates a sustained, low-level alertness that over time actually accumulates into chronic fatigue, affecting their mood and overall health. And this is where the science gets incredibly surprising. Researchers attached GPS trackers and accelerometers to dogs while their owners were at work. And they found that a peaceful appearance actually hides elevated resting heart rates. A dog can be lying completely still on the couch, looking perfectly relaxed, but internally harboring hidden, sustained stress. And the elevated heart rate,
It only drops back to a true resting baseline the literal moment the owner returns.
Now, what's really interesting here is how it answers the question I asked you at the very beginning of this explainer. Let's break down exactly what your dog's door behavior means. If your dog follows you and watches the door, that is proximity seeking, a totally normal sign of secure attachment. If your dog stays put and barely looks up, do not think they don't care. That actually indicates a very high level of security. They feel zero threat when you leave. But if your dog follows you to the door and then immediately goes to your bed or chair, that's an explicit coping strategy. It shows incredible emotional intelligence because they understand the absence and have found a safe way to exist inside it. Section 5. 3 steps to reduce anxiety. Rewiring the separation cycle. So what does this all mean? With all this biological data in mind, how can we actually fix these hidden stress triggers? Behaviorists recommend 3 actionable steps to help rewire your dog's separation cycle and reduce their anxiety. Step 1 is scent anchoring. As we learned, scent chemically reduces cortisol. So before you leave, intentionally place an unwashed item of your clothing in the resting area, not as a toy, but as a physical, calming presence. Step 2 is a neutral departure. Remember, dogs use our emotional state as their guide to the world. If we're anxious and dramatic when we leave, their anxiety spikes right along with it. We need to maintain an unremarkable departure, just a quiet pat, a soft word, and go. Keep it brief and emotionally neutral. And finally, step 3. And honestly, this is probably the hardest one for us humans, a delayed, calm return. When you walk in and your dog goes absolutely wild, our instinct is to match that high energy. But neurologically, frantically greeting a wild dog just reinforces to them that departures and arrivals are dramatic, stressful, high-stakes events. Instead, calmly set your things down, let the dog's excitement drop to a lower energy level, and only then give them real, gentle attention. By changing our habits, we can drastically reduce our dog's hidden anxiety. Because as this absolutely powerful quote reminds us, to your dog, you are not just a person who comes and goes, you are the entire structure of their world. Every single time you execute a calm departure and a delayed, gentle return, you are proving to them that their world is safe, building a lifetime of absolute trust. So, based on what we've just covered, what is your dog telling you the next time you pick up your keys? Take a look at their behavior tomorrow morning, and you might just see a completely different animal.